Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya युग धर्म हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्या उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Reading from Canto 5 titled The Creative Impetus, Chapter 1 titled The Activities of Maharaj Priyavrata, text number 22. This is a text in the form of prose, cannot be recited in any standard meter, so I will just try something. And then we will try to read the word by word translation and then the actual translation and the purport. Manorapi pranaivam pratisandhita manoratha surasi varano matenadmajam akhila dhara mandala sthiti guptaya आस्थाप्य स्वयं अति विषम विषय विष जलाशया शया उपर राम. What two word meanings? Manuhu, Swayambhuva Manu, Api, also, Parena, by Lord Brahma, Evam, thus, Pratisandhita, executed, Manaha Rathaha, his mental aspiration, Sura Rishi Vara, by the great sage Narada, Anumatena, by the permission, Atmajam, his son, Akhila, of the entire universe, Dhara Mandala, of planets, Sthiti, maintenance, Guptaye, for protection, Asthapya, establishing, Swayam, personally, Ati Vishama, very dangerous, Vishaya, material affairs, Visha, of poison, Jala Ashaya, ocean, Ashayaha, from desires, Upara Rama, got relief. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Swayambhuva Manu, with the assistance of Lord Brahma, thus fulfilled his desires. With the permission of the great sage Narada, he delivered to his son the governmental responsibility for maintaining and protecting all the planets of the universe. He thus achieved relief from the most dangerous, poisonous ocean of material desires. Purport. Swayambhuva Manu was practically hopeless because such a great personality as Narada was instructing his son Priyavrata not to accept household life. Now he was pleased that Lord Brahma had interfered by inducing his son to accept the responsibility for ruling the government of the universe. From Bhagavad Gita, we get information that Vaivasvata Munu was the son of the sun god and that his son Maharaj Ikshvaku ruled this planet Earth. Swayambhuva Manu, however, appears to have been in charge of the entire universe, and he entrusted his son Maharaj Priyavrata the responsibility for maintaining and protecting all the planetary systems. Dhara Mandala means planet. This earth, for instance, is called Dhara Mandala. Akhila, however, means all or universal. It is therefore difficult to understand where Maharaj Priyavrata was situated. But from this literature, his position certainly appears greater than that of Vaivasvata Manu, for he was entrusted with all the planetary systems of the entire universe. Another significant statement is that Swayambhuva Manu took great satisfaction from abnegating the responsibility for ruling all the planetary systems of this universe. At present, the politicians are very eager to take the charge of the government, and they engage their men in canvassing from door to get votes to win the post of president or a similar exalted office. On the contrary, however, herein we find that King Priyavrata had to be persuaded by Lord Brahma to accept the post of emperor of the entire universe. Similarly, his father Swayambhuva Manu felt relieved to entrust the universal government to Priyavrata. Thus, it is evident that the kings and the executive heads of government in the Vedic age never accepted their positions for sense enjoyment. Such exalted kings, who are known as Raja Rishis, ruled only to maintain and protect the kingdom for the welfare of the citizens. The history of Priyavrata and Swayambhuva Manu describes how exemplary, responsible monarchs performed the duties of the government with disinterest, keeping themselves always aloof from the contamination of material attachment. Material affairs have herein been compared to an ocean of poison. They have been described in a similar way by Srila Narottam Das Thakur in one of his songs. Samsara Vishanale Divanishi Hiya Jale Judaite na Kainu Upay. My heart is always burning in the fire of material existence, and I have made no provisions for getting out of it. Golokera prema dhana hari nama sankirtana ratina janmila kene taye. This is by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually. So the only remedy is Harinam Sankirtan, the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which is imported from the spiritual world. Golok Vrindavan. How unfortunate I am that I have no attraction for this. Manu wanted to seek the shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, and therefore, when his son Priyavrata took the shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, and therefore when his son Priyavrata took charge of his worldly affairs, Manu was very relieved. That is the system of Vedic civilization. At the end of life, one must free himself from the worldly affairs and completely engage in the service of the Lord. The word Surarshi Vara Anumatena is also significant. Manu entrusted the government to his son with permission of the great saint Narada. This is particularly mentioned because although Narada wanted Priyavrata to become free from all material affairs, when Priyavrata took charge of the universe by the request of Lord Brahma and Manu, Narada was also very pleased. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswata Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Nanghayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Harihi Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Swayambhuva Manu, with the assistance of Lord Brahma, thus fulfilled his desires. With the permission of the great sage Narada, he delivered to his son the governmental responsibility for maintaining and protecting all planets of the universe. He thus achieved relief from the most dangerous poisonous ocean of material desires. This dangerous poisonous ocean of material desires is called as Ati Vishama Vishaya Visha Jala Shaya Shaya. Upararama means he got relieved. So here we are seeing the scene where four Mahajans are in one place and they are trying to preach to one student. Actually, three Mahajans. No, Brahma is also Mahajans, four Mahajans, yeah. So Brahma, Swayambhuva Manu, Narada, and in the previous verse we also read that Lord Shiva is standing and listening everything. So four Mahajans are there and one great personality called Maharaj Priyavrata is listening and he's understanding what to do in life. So just a brief recap. We were hearing the pastimes of Dhruv Maharaj and then we saw his descendants until Maharaj Prachina Barhishat. And then finally the Prachetas came. And then Prachetas, they produced one child from the womb of Marisha. And the son was Daksha Prajapati part 2. So he again took birth from the womb of Marisha as Daksha again. But after he appeared, he went into austerities for 5 manvantras. Not 5 manvantras. Yeah, 5 manus came and went. No, 5 yugas rather. I'm just recollecting. Yes, 5 manvantras. So, for this time, the world had to be ruled. So, there was no one available. So Swayambhuva Manu approached Maharaj Priyavrat that, see, you are the elder's brother of Uttanapad. So you were not interested in ruling the kingdom, so you took sannyas under the guidance of Narad Muni. And then for so much time you were always chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then Uttanapad, he took the place, and then so many things happened. But now there is no competent ruler of this universe. When we talk about universe, we specifically talk about Bhulok, Bhumandala basically. Beyond the Swarga planetary systems, there is no need of management and rulership. Because all the planets above the Swargaloka, they are almost self-managed and running in an autonomous mode. They don't need a king as such. Brahmalok doesn't need a king, Janlok, Taplok, they are least bothered. In Swarglok there is some problem, and below Swarglok there is some problem. So wherever there is intensity in Krishna consciousness, management is not required. Management is required only in those places where devotees are not doing their sadhana properly, where they are not chanting properly, where they are not reading the books of Srila Prabhupada properly. So those who are not absorbed in Krishna consciousness, they are the ones who create problems. So Swarga and below, we need management. So we need a king there. And then on Bhumandala you need a king, and in the lower planetary systems you need a king. So these kings, they basically rule. Swarga also they don't go much because Indra is already there. So from below that, specifically starting from little bit of rulership they show in Bhuvarlok. Bhuvarlok is the place where demons stay. So they don't interfere much, only in some parties they go there, some important discussions. But otherwise from Bhumandala and down to the lower planetary systems, they try to maintain law and order, primarily in charge of Bhumandala. In the later chapters, we will see how Priyavrat Maharaj, he divides the Bhumandala into various parts, and they become various Varshas, and one of those Varshas is Bharat Varsha. So in Bharat Varsha, in a place called Jambu Dvipa, in a place called Bharat Khanda, right now we are staying. So I think the 25th chapter of the 5th canto will tell you more details about the geographic variations of this universe. So Bharat Varsha doesn't mean the Indian subcontinent. Almost 75% of the earth comes under Bharat Varsha. So this Bhumandala is a very big piece of land, and on that you can imagine a ball is kept. That is earth. And apart from Bhumandala, or apart from earth, there are various other mandalas, various other planetary systems. That's why we say earthly planetary systems. Heavenly planetary systems doesn't mean just Amrita, what is the capital of Indra? Amravati. It doesn't just mean Amravati. It means various other demigods who have their own planets. They are all a part of heavenly planetary systems. So similarly, whole Bhumandala, it's very difficult for us to understand what we are talking about, but Bhagavatam explains that. So Maharaj Priyavrat ruled the entire entire planetary system, like not just Earth, but all the other planets which are like Earth also in this planetary system. This is my understanding. So therefore the word Akhila has come here. So entire Bhumandala is under him. So therefore we hear of various other Varshas also, and in all the other Varshas we will see different kinds of Chatur Varna are there, and different kinds of presiding deities are there. So all that has been set up by Maharaj Priyavrata. So Maharaj Priyavrata continues to rule for 5 Manvantras and his descendants, and then ultimately Daksha Prajapati comes in the 6th Manvantara and takes up everything. I'm back, give me everything back. And he takes up the rulership of the universe. This is my understanding. So here, Priyavrat Maharaj was initially not wanting to enter this administrative job. Those who are managers in ISKCON, they will have good experience about it also. It's a very difficult position, and not very conducive for chanting Hare Krishna, especially when one does not has the right consciousness. Only a leader who is detached from leadership, like we read in this today's verse, can do good job as a leader. If somebody is very anxious to become a leader, they cannot become a leader, and they cannot do a good job as a leader also. They'll get entangled in the modes of material nature, and then various sinful activities will happen. So, Vishya vinivartante niraharasya dehinam rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. One who has got a higher taste in Krishna consciousness can, even if they have some tendencies, they can successfully give up the lower taste because they have tasted that higher rasa. So Priyavrat Maharaj, in the association of Narad Muni, had tasted that higher rasa of full-time pure devotional service. He didn't want to compromise that. But then Krishna wanted to use Maharaj Priyavrata as an instrument to show that bhakti is ahaituki apratihata. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir ashokshaje ahaitukya pratihata yayatma suprasidati. Bhakti is uninterrupted and unmotivated and unconditional in all circumstances. One cannot say that until and unless I have this kind of a job, I cannot chant 16 rounds. Until and unless I get this kind of a health, so I cannot chant 16 rounds. So bhakti is independent. Even in the body of an elephant, one can please the Lord. So Lord Krishna wanted to show this, and whenever Lord Krishna wants to execute something, he always uses his pure devotees. So Priyavrat Maharaj didn't want to enter household life, didn't want to take administration, so Swayambhuva Manu came to explain him, but he did not listen to him. So then Brahma had to descend from the Brahma Lok and tell him directly. We see a list of arguments which Brahma gave, and the most substantial argument was Krishna wants it. So when Priyavrat Maharaj heard that Krishna wants me to rule, then no questions were asked. And then immediately Narad Muni also said, okay, if Krishna wants it, then you continue. And then Priyavrat Maharaj accepted that, okay, I will do the needful. Just like now, sometimes I as a practicing devotee want to do services which I like to do. If somebody asks me to do something which I have not done or which I don't like doing very much, I'll try to exchange. Prabhuji, can somebody else do this? I'll do this. I have an experience of 5 years doing this. I'm more effective at doing this, and I can do a better job in doing this. And only when I do this service, Krishna will be pleased. These kind of statements I can make and do some exchange. But in Prabhupada's time, that was not the case. In Prabhupada's time, the statement was, do the needful. Okay, you are a pujari, but right now we need book distribution, so you please do it. Okay, you are a book distributor, but right now we need you to be a temple president, you please do the needful. So that is called as complete shelter and surrender to the instructions of the spiritual master. Ready to do anything. This reminds me of Lord Shiva, when he wanted to see the pastimes of Lord Krishna in the Rasa Sthali. Krishna is known as Rasa Murti. So he is the embodiment of all the rasas, and when he displays all the rasas in the maximum potential, that is called as a Rasa Sthali. In the association of devotees who are wonderfully endowed with the love of God, that is the gopis. So Lord Shiva wanted to see that, but then the condition was that there cannot be any other male in the Rasa Sthali except Krishna. So Lord Shiva was so sold out and completely surrendered to Krishna that he didn't care, okay, I'm ready to become a woman. So he became Gopeshwar Mahadev. So he's ready to do anything and everything for Krishna. So similarly, this kind of a mood the disciples of Srila Prabhupada had. They were ready to do anything and everything for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada. And the same mood Priyavrat Maharaj has exhibited here. The moment he came to know that this is what Krishna wants, finished. I'll do it. There are so many lessons which we can derive from this incident. The mood of a disciple, the mood of a disciple towards God, the mood of a disciple towards Sampradaya Acharya, the mood of a disciple towards his spiritual master, the mood of a disciple towards Mahajans like Swayambhuva Manu. We can have a nice discussion and we can analyze so many things. But the ultimate realization here is that we have surrendered to our Guru because our Guru is connecting us to Krishna. So actually our surrender is only to Krishna. When Guru takes us away from Krishna, then just like Bali Maharaj did, he rejected Shukracharya, we should reject Guru. So our surrender is to Guru because Guru is a connection, transparent via medium to Krishna. So this clarity we get from here. His Guru Narad Muni is telling him don't do. But he came to know Krishna wants him to do. So he understands that Narad Muni is my connection to Krishna. And if Krishna wants this, then I should do it. And Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, he got a clarity from everywhere that I should do this. So he did it. And then what happened? Swayambhuva Manu, with the assistance of Lord Brahma, thus fulfilled his desires. And then with the permission of great sage Narada. So there was no roguism being done there. That okay, Krishna has told me you get lost. Who are you, Narad Muni? Krishna has told me I will not ask you. No. Proper Vaishnava etiquette was being followed. A disciple is a property of his spiritual master. So Swayambhuva Manu, although he has orders from Krishna and Brahma to depute Priyavrat as the ruler, but he is still taking permission from Narada that you please allow him. So that's why it is being told. With permission of the great sage Narada, he delivered his son to the governmental responsibility of maintaining and protecting all the planets of this universe. He thus achieved relief from the most dangerous poison of material desires, which is Vishama Vishaya Visha Jala Shaya Shaya. So this is the ocean of birth and death. Vedic civilization does not mean, what is the definition of retirement? See, Swayambhuva Manu is leading a retired life. We saw that he retired in the 4th canto only. So he is leading a retired life. So retired life doesn't mean that you go to your house in Visakhapatnam and then you buy that newspaper which has 30 pages and from the first page to the last page you leak it. Read each and everything. When I was a small child, there was a neighbor of mine who couldn't afford the newspapers. Elderly man, retired. One day his grandson told him that if you send me to boarding school, I will beat you up. So he became very disturbed. My grandson is talking to me like this. So he came to my house, he talked with my grandfather, and my grandfather told him, see, you need to be detached with family affairs now. Why don't you spend time with the newspaper? So he started taking newspaper, which was yesterday's newspaper, and he used to read it. He used to lick it. We used to see dal marks, pickle marks on various pages. We could understand that he has read it fully. And then the way he quit his body was not very glorious. He was holding the hands of his same grandson who told him nasty things. He was holding the hands of his grandson, son, daughters, passing stool and urine in the bed, begging to the doctor that save me, and in that way he quit his life. This is not Vedic civilization. Vedic civilization means Pancha Shordhvam Vanam Vrajet. As soon as you cross the age of 50, first of all, one has to, if at all they want to get married, they should get married at the right age and produce children at the right age, so that by the time you are 50, your children are self-sufficient and are ready to take over your entire house, property, and the material engagements which you have. So Pancham Shordham Vanam Vrajet. As soon as you turn 51, one should have developed that kind of detachment, Jnana and Vairagya, which means Grihasthashram is meant for purifying the heart through transcendental knowledge and losing the doership mentality. By the end of 25 years, one should have achieved this, and they should hand over everything to their children, whether qualified or unqualified. Of course, one should try to make their children qualified, but even if they are not qualified, what to do? We take inspiration from Maharaj Anga. He wanted to have a son, but he got a son like Vena, who was absolutely unqualified. But then when the right time came, Maharaj Anga was least bothered. He took the permission of the Brahmanas and overnight, he left. His wife was not ready to leave, so he left his wife and left. So that is the custom. The custom is, we see in the first canto, Vidura, a younger brother, is calling his elder brother a dog. Now, this is common in Kali Yuga, but this is not common in Dwapar. He comes back to his elder brother and calls him a dog and literally drags his brother like a dog out of the kingdom. So those who are very much attached, they cannot be called as retired. Retirement means that I am now done with these material affairs, with these society affairs. All the responsibilities which I had. If they need me, if they need my support, I'm ready to guide them, but I'm not ready to take active role or active responsibility in their day-to-day maintenance. And I'm leading a detached life, taking shelter of the instructions of my spiritual master, and primarily focused on chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So that is what Swayambhuva Manu had already done. Now, he was very afraid that if Priyavrat Maharaj doesn't agree, then he will have to enter this dangerous poison ocean of material desires. Staying in touch with this material world is very, very dangerous. And he didn't want to do it. He saw great people in his dynasty like Maharaj Dhruva, who attained the darshan of the Lord at the age of 5 and went back home, back to Godhead also. So he was also thinking that I also have to do something. So I don't want to come back to this business, because ruling the planet or ruling the Bhumandala or ruling the Akhila or the entirety of the universe means you have to interact with various kinds of people. And that takes a toll on your consciousness. Just like even if you go out for book distribution, you meet with various kinds of people. And that takes a toll on your consciousness. You bring in some contamination with you. And therefore, you have to do extra work to get rid of that contamination also. You have to chant very nicely. You have to attend immediately after book distribution. It is recommended that one should take darshan of the deities. One should read the books of Prabhupada. One should sit with devotees and discuss what happened today. Reveal your mind. And then next day, attend Mangalarti, attend Bhagavatam class, chant Hare Krishna. Prabhupada gave an instruction that finish your 16 rounds before going on book distribution. So one has to do some work. So similarly, when one rules the entire universe, doesn't matter how much Krishna conscious they are, it leads to it gives some impact. Therefore, in the previous verses you see Lord Brahma is telling that you rule this universe, and when the right time comes you give up and again go back to the old business which you had along with Narad Muni. Had that not been the case, Lord Brahma wouldn't have spoken like that. That means Lord Brahma is also understanding that ruling the Brahma Loka is one thing and ruling Bhuloka is another. So he is understanding that there is some headache involved, and when that headache Priyavrat is ready to take, Maharaj Swayambhuva Manu is feeling very relieved. So that is the entirety of this verse. So Prabhupada says, Swayambhuva Manu felt relieved to entrust the universal government to Priyavrata. This is evident that the kings and the executive heads of the government in the Vedic age never accepted their positions for sense enjoyment. Such exalted kings were known as Raj Rashis, ruled only to maintain and protect the kingdom for the welfare of the citizens. The history of Priyavrata and Swayambhuva Manu describes how exemplary, responsible monarchs performed the duties of government with disinterest, keeping themselves always aloof from the contamination of material attachment. So this shows that these Raja Rashis, Evam Parampara Praptam Imam Rajarsha Yo Viduhu, 4th chapter Bhagavad Gita, Shloka number 1 and 2, talks about the Guru Parampara system, where Krishna says that all these kings who received this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita were Raja Rishis. That means all of them, they read the Bhagavad Gita, understood that the aim of life is Manmana Bhava Madbhakto, Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru, Mam Evaishyasi Satyam Te Pratijani Priyosime. The Bhagavad Gita verses don't change. Sun God got the same, Maharaj Ikshvaku got the same, Lord Ram read the same, and then other Rajarishis also have read the same. So the aim of life is to always think of Krishna, never forget Krishna, offer obeisances to Krishna, worship Krishna, become a devotee of Krishna. And everything else has to be dovetailed around this. Human life is a preparation how to intensify my Krishna consciousness over a period of time. Just like in Varnashram, the center, if Varnashram is a disc, the center of the disc is Lord Vishnu, and the aim is that in whichever position of the disc you are, your aim is to please Lord Vishnu and keep moving closer and closer to Lord Vishnu. So similarly, the aim of human life is to become completely absorbed in Krishna consciousness and do all the duties which we have, which is coming to us through the system of Varna and Ashrama. And the duties, these prescribed duties, have to be performed in a disinterested and obligatory way and not in an attached and a passionate way. So that one always remains aloof from the contamination of material attachment. Srila Prabhupada helps us to understand this by giving an example of a woman who has a paramour. So a woman who has a paramour or an extramarital affair, so that woman will always be thinking of the lover, but will act in the house in such a way that the husband will never get any doubt, the in-laws will never get any doubt. But in the back of her mind, she is always thinking of the paramour. So similarly, Srila Prabhupada says that our disinterested, obligatory, prescribed duty execution in this material world should be so perfect that nobody should get any doubt. But in the back of our mind, we should always be thinking of the name, form, qualities and pastimes of Krishna. This is the example which Srila Prabhupada gives. And the best example are the gopis of Vrindavan. And they would always be thinking of Krishna, never forgetting Krishna. So this is the concept. These Rajarishis, they were so much attached to Krishna that they were naturally detached from everything else. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janiyatya Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayad Ahetukam. One who is actually doing Krishna consciousness, they naturally develop detachment and knowledge. Now for detachment, it is important to get attached. Srila Prabhupada explains in his lectures that if you have to leave this apartment, then you need to find another apartment. Only then you can leave this apartment. So right now, if I am attached to this material world and I want to leave this material world and become detached from it, that means I have to first get attached somewhere else. And that is the lotus feet of Krishna. When I get attached to the lotus feet of Krishna, then automatically I will become detached from this material world. And that will also lead to knowledge. So Jnana and Vairagya are natural byproducts of Krishna consciousness. If after chanting Hare Krishna for a long time, if still I am having material desires, if still I have the anarthas in my heart, that means I should understand that something is wrong in my practice of Krishna consciousness. Because these material affairs are compared to an ocean of poison in this verse. Vishama Vishaya Visha Jala Shaya Shaya. This is a very dangerous verse. Vishama means it's a wish, and Vishaya means material affairs. Horrible. So material affairs have been compared to an ocean of material poison. And Narottam Das Thakur has very nicely told this. Samsara Vishanale Diva Nishi Hiya Jale. Judaite na kainu upaya. My heart is always burning in the fire of material existence, and I have made no provisions for getting out of it. Those who have experience of constipation will understand this. When your windpipe is constantly burning, and when you do not take any provision to cure it, how you feel? On your face only it will appear that you are constipated. And anybody even smiles and says Hare Krishna to you, simply by your look and by your condition, they will run away from you. I'm just putting the lighter side of it, not the medical side of it. So similarly, if one does not sincerely and seriously make arrangements and provisions how to come out of this samsara davanal, the forest fire of material existence which is burning incessantly in my heart, if somebody is not planning to get out of that forest fire, their spiritual juice is getting burnt up and they are actually spiritually starving. It's a very, very horrible condition. So therefore, Golokera Prema Dhana Harinam Sankirtan Rati Na Janmila Kenetai. So the only way is the Harinam Sankirtan or chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And this can be given only by the Guru. That's why we sing Samsara Dava Nara Leadha Loka Tranaya Karunya Ghana Ghanatvam. So Krishna is Karuna Sindhu, he is an ocean. But I can't reach the ocean. I'm burning here. So I need some mercy representative of Krishna who picks up the water of that Karuna ocean and comes to me in the form of cloud and pours it over me. Because I am useless. I can't take shelter of Krishna. So I have to approach a spiritual master and then I have to get that Bhakti Lata Bij from the spiritual master. And in that way I have to establish my connection with Krishna. And in that way I will get rid of this samsara davanala. So Manu wanted to seek the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, and therefore when his son Maharaj Priyavrata took charge of the worldly affairs, Manu was very relieved. That I have no occupation other than chanting Hare Krishna, reading Bhagavatam, and hearing the lectures of Prabhupada. I'm very happy now. This is the system of Vedic civilization. At the end of life, one must. Srila Prabhupada is an expert at the usage of words. You can analyze where Prabhupada is writing can, where he is writing should, where he is writing must, where he is writing will, all that. He used to really think a lot before writing. I was reading one of the memories of Srila Prabhupada. So at one point of time, the personal secretary of Srila Prabhupada, he used to sleep next door to Prabhupada. He saw that the room was very silent, but Prabhupada was up. 2-3 times he got up to check whether Prabhupada wants something or not. He was holding the dictaphone and reading something. So he thought, he's thinking something, let me sleep. Then in the morning, the transcription team came to take the tapes. But when they went to transcribe, nothing was there in the tape. So they came back to Prabhupada that did something wrong happen, did the current go away, did he not press the button or something. So they came and asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, we are not able to find the transcription or the recording. Prabhupada said, yes, because I did not speak in the night. And then they asked, everything is okay, Prabhupada? Is your health okay? Do you need something? No. I was reading this verse and whole night I was thinking, what is the right word to present this verse so that everybody can understand in the present times and circumstances? That is the effort which our Acharya has put in his purport. So therefore when he says, at the end of life, one must free himself from the worldly affairs and completely engage in the service of the Lord, this is a universal statement. There is no question of doubts in this and there is no question of ifs and buts here. I am very grateful to Srila Prabhupada, even more compared to the previous Acharyas, because Srila Prabhupada has come and saved me. The previous Acharyas, they are speaking this supreme absolute truth. But Srila Prabhupada is so merciful that he has given commentaries to that which are suitable for a Kali Yuga soul like me. My mind is so spiritually dull that I cannot understand what Acharyas like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur are saying, or Baldev Vidya Bhushan are saying, or the 6 Goswamis are saying, or Brahma is saying, or I need this line that at the end of life one must free himself from worldly affairs and completely engage in the service of the Lord. When I read this translation or the verse of Bhagavatam, I am not able to come to this conclusion. I need the help of Srila Prabhupada, who has given the Supreme Absolute Truth through his purports in such a way that the Kali Yuga souls like me can actually understand and implement it. So therefore, I am very grateful to Srila Prabhupada, and I feel a personal relationship with him. Now, the last verse is a very nice point. The word Surasi Vara Anumatena is also significant. Manu entrusted the government to his son with the permission of the great sage Narada. This is particularly mentioned because although Narada wanted Priyavrata to become free from material affairs, when Priyavrata took charge of the universe by the request of Lord Brahma and Manu, Narada was also very pleased. Nobody can understand the mind of Krishna. Similarly, not everybody can claim that they understand the mind of their spiritual master also. So it is the mercy of the spiritual master that he reveals what he wants. And an ideal disciple, even if they are 100% sure, they always cross-check. That is this what you want? Will this please you? That is called as a first-class disciple. A second-class disciple just does what is needed. One example which is coming to my mind is the example of Sita Swayamvar, where Vishwamitra tells, Vatsa Rama Dhanur Pashya. My dear Lord Ram, please see the Dhanush. So an ideal disciple understands the mind of the spiritual master by having interactions with him. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. So Lord Ram immediately understood what Vishwamitra wanted. He went, he saw the Dhanush, he picked up the Dhanush, he stringed the Dhanush, he broke the Dhanush, he married Sita. That is ideal disciple. Second class disciple, Vatsaram Dhanur Pashya. Okay, spiritual master has Guru Mukha Padma Vakya. He has asked me to go and see it. I saw it, I came back. And then the spiritual master will say, Arey, I want you to see means do something about it also. That is second class disciple. Third class disciple means, my dear Guru Maharaj, why should I only do everything? Day and night you are ordering me. You are not understanding how much sacrifice I have done for you, how much individual, spontaneous, voluntary service I have done for you. You never say thank you to me. You only keep giving orders to me. Everything I will only do. Something you also do. Set an example in front of me. This is third class disciple. Fourth class disciple I don't want to discuss. So here, sorry. So this Priyavrat Maharaj took charge and Narad was very pleased. Brahma is talking, he's a Mahajan. Swayambhuva Manu is talking, he's a Mahajan. Lord Shiva is standing quietly, he's a Mahajan. Narad Muni is talking, he's a Mahajan. We cannot say that Narad Muni doesn't understand Krishna, Brahma understands Krishna, Shiva doesn't understand Krishna. All of them are authorities in their own right. But all of four of them are working together to understand what is the supreme will of Krishna. And one surrendered soul, Priyavrat Maharaj, is just absorbing that rasa. Similarly, the GBC now is a representative of Srila Prabhupada. And whenever any significant problem comes in front of them, they don't claim that I am a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, I want to do that, I knew what Prabhupada wants. No. They all come together and understand and try to meditate that how Srila Prabhupada would have wanted to handle this situation. Just like all the four Mahajans have got together, they are discussing. And then they are coming to a conclusion. And once the conclusion is taken, even personalities like Narad Muni are feeling happy. They are not feeling any resentment. They feel happy that yes, this is what my Lord wants. Brahmaji is feeling happy that yes, I convinced my grandson to come out of a particular ashram, enter another ashram. This is what Lord Krishna wants. Swayambhuva Manu is happy. He's not a sadist. I've thrown my grandson in Vishama Vishaya Visha Jalashaya and let me go and chant. No, he's knowing that Krishna will take care because this is the will of Krishna. So nobody can understand Krishna completely. This is very clear from the four Mahajans in action. But when all four of them come together and try to understand by the mercy of Krishna, Krishna reveals what needs to be done and then Krishna only takes care later on. And those who understand this kind of discussions and pick up the task of doing what Krishna wants, they are called as Maharaj Priyavrata. So on that note, I would like to conclude today's discussion. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.